Jai Hind everyone. I am Himanshu Tripathi, Assistant Professor in Electronics and Communication Engineering Department at Akgec. Today I am going to explain a very important topic in the domain of design thinking, and the topic is claims in the argument. So let's start our discussion over the claims in the argument. Before proceeding with the claims only, let's see what is the argument and what are the main components of the argument. So if we try to understand, arguments are the simple statements which we represent to put our idea in front of our team or in front of other people. So in that argument, there are the three major steps or three major components. The first component is claim. The second component is the first component is claim, the second component is premises, and the third component is conclusion. So to make any argument effective, we need to basically understand minimum these three components of the argument, so that we can say that our argument is valid or a strong argument or a strong claim is having there in that particular argument. So first we start with the claim. Claim is a statement or proposition that the argument is trying to prove in front of the people, and claim is what the speaker or the writer is trying to convince their audience to believe on that particular thing. So this is the basic definition of claim that I have just iterated in front of you, and the claim is the conclusion of the argument. Actually, the claim is the major part when we are trying to conclude the argument that we are going to present here. For example, to understand it better that what claim is, this is the simple claim in our argument that the government should invest more in renewable energy sources. So this might be one claim. So let's quickly move forward and try to understand what are the premises in the domain of argument. So if we talk about the premises, then premises are supporting reasons or the evidence provided to back up the claim. Whenever we are making any statement or we are making any claim, we need to put some kind of proof or some kind of evidence, some kind of data, so that we can provide the backup to support our claim, right? And these premises basically provide the foundation that justifies that claim. So each premise must offer logical support. This is the important thing here, that each claim or each premise must offer the logical support to the particular claim. So if we further improve our previous statement that we have seen in the previous slide, that renewable energy is essential for reducing carbon emission, and investing in renewable energy will create new jobs and boost the economy. So these are the some facts which we can use when we are making an argument. The previous argument was that government should invest in renewable energy sources. So the next thing is the conclusion. So here the conclusion is the claim that the premises support, right? So it is what the argument seeks to prove or the establish in front of the audience. So we can say that conclusion is often the final statement in the argument, and it can be inferred directly from the premises. So in the last part of that statement should be that therefore the government should invest more in renewable energy sources. So this is the system for making an argument. We can complete an argument with the help of claim, with the help of premises. The claim was that government should invest into the renewable energy sources. The premises were supporting some kind of facts, some kind of logic, that why government should think about investing in renewable energy sources. And the last part of that statement or argument may be the conclusion. So the conclusion is there, therefore, due to the reason that we have discussed into the previous slide, therefore the government should invest more in the renewable energy sources. So let's quickly try to understand claim in more deeper sense of way. the strong claim, how to identify a strong claim or how to identify whether it is a weak claim. So, we will see that what is the difference between the strong claim and the weak claim. So, there are four components that I am going to talk about the strong claim. The first component is the clarity, the second component is the specificity, and the third component is the supportability, and last component here in my context is the relevance, right. So, first start with the clarity. So, before starting with the clarity, let me tell you that what should be a strong claim. A strong claim is one that is clear, specific and defendable. So, these are the three basic qualities you can say that a strong claim should have. The first quality is that claims should be very clear. The second quality that the claims should be very specific, and third quality must be present there, that is the claim should be defendable. We should be able to defend our claim. So, it is a key part of compelling argument and need to be carefully constructed. So, these are the three parameters. It should be clear, it should be specific and it should be defendable, right. So, first we will try to understand one by one that how to create a strong claim. The first part of that purpose is the clarity. So, a claim should be clear and understandable. This is very much understood by all of us, that the claim should be clear and understandable clearly. A vague or overbroad claim weakens the argument because it is difficult to support with the evidence. If we are making such kind of claim that is very vague, or we are basically trying to address a very broad claim here in our statement, then it will be very difficult to support the evidence, or it will be very difficult to provide the evidence to support that particular claim. There are two examples that I am going to quote in front of you to prove that what is the strong claim and what is the weak claim. So, if we are making, we are stating this statement that we need to address the climate change. So, there you can easily sense that we are basically including a very broad claim. So, this very broad domain of work is there, that we need to address the climate change. Climate change may be having multiple issues or multiple scenarios where we can address that climate change, but we need to address the climate change is a very broad and a very vague claim. So, that is why we are putting that kind of statement, that kind of claim into the category of weak claim. But yes, if we are stating the same thing but in a little bit different way, or we can say that we need to reduce carbon emission by 40% by 2030 to mitigate the climate change. So, here we are not being very vague, or we are not being very broad. We are basically focusing ourselves to reduce the carbon emissions. So, it is very much focused because we are not concerned about some other parameters or some other effects which are basically affecting the climate change. And here we are having also the target here, that is we want to reduce that carbon emission by 40% with the timeline that by 2030 this is our target. So, definitely that can be defendable, and that is very specific here, that what we want to do, and it is very clear that which problem we are going to address. So, due to these three things, because I have mentioned earlier that clear, specific and the defendable are the properties of a strong claim. So, we can say on the basis of that thing, we can say that this last statement is the example of strong claim. The next parameter is the specificity. So, in our claim, a strong claim rather than needs to be specific so that it can be supported by the factual evidence, right. So, it should be very specific, as we have seen in the previous example when we have stated a very strong claim there. A specific claim is easier to prove. We easily understand that if we are being very specific, then it will be possible to produce the enough evidence or produce the relevant evidence or relevant data to support our claim. For example, the government should impose a carbon tax on corporations to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. So, here in this claim, we are being very specific that we want to address the climate change, but yes, with this statement or with this claim, we are being very specific that we are going to impose carbon tax, and where we are going to impose the carbon tax, it is also very specific that to the corporations. So, if we are going to impose the carbon tax onto the corporations, this will basically help in reducing the greenhouse gas emissions from those industries or for those corporations. The third property of our claim or a strong claim should be the supportability. A strong claim should be something that can be backed up by the fact, data, or the logical reasoning. So, we have seen in our previous examples, but again I am basically defending the properties of the strong claim. So, a strong claim is not enough, it is not enough to claim to be an opinion. It needs to be grounded in the evidence part of it, right? So, for example, if we are making one more statement that by increasing investment in public transportation, we can reduce the traffic congestion and air pollution. So, here we want to handle the climate change, and we are again being very specific that we want to handle air pollution this time in this particular example, and how we can do it by increasing the investments in the public transportation. We want to increase public transportation, we want to that public should use more public transportation rather than by using their own cars or own vehicles. So, the next part of my strong claim is that it should be relevance. There should be relevance into this strong claim. A strong claim is relevant to the issue at hand and addresses an important question or a problem, right? So, it should be tangential to the central topic. So, for example, I can make another statement here that recycling programs in the urban areas should be expanded to reduce waste and improve the environmental sustainability. So, here it is quite relevant because we are focusing on the recycling programs in urban areas only. So, we are being specific here, and we are very much specific that they should be expanded to reduce the waste and improve the environmental sustainability. So, these are the few parameters on which we can say that we can identify very easily whether the claim that is being made by us or the claim that is being made by some other person in our team is a strong claim or it is a weak claim. So, it is very important in design thinking process to put the strong claim in front of the team or in front of the designers, so that we can get the proper solution or the very right solution. So, on the basis of the previous discussion, I can say that if we want to test the strength of a claim, we are interested in testing the strength of the claim. So, how we can do that? There are the 3-point formula here that I am going to represent, that the number one process, the number one step is we need to ask, can this claim be supported with clear evidence before making any claim? Because it may be a vague claim or it may be a weak claim or useless for the purpose that we are doing. So, we need to ask to ourselves, or if we are evaluating any claim that is being made by some other person, we need to ask this question that can this claim be supported with clear evidence? If clear evidence is present, then there is a strong possibility that the claim that anyone has done or mentioned is a strong claim. The second test point is that we need to check if the claim is specific enough to be backed up with the facts or statistics. Yes, this is again very important thing, and if the claim is being very specific, like we have seen in our previous examples, it may be the 40% reduction by 2030, or it may be some other examples like putting the carbon tax on the corporations. So, if that specificity is available inside that particular claim, and we know that that kind of specificity can be backed up with the facts or the statistics available with us. So, if the second point is also checked in our list, that means our claim may be a strong claim. The third point here is that ensure the claim is not a mere opinion, but something that can be logically argued and proven also. So, if we generally try to make a claim which may be our own opinion. We'll see some examples in further slides. But if the claim is more than the opinion, but it is something that can be logically argued or logically proven, that means that kind of claim may be a strong claim. So if we need to test our claim before producing or before putting it in front of some other person, we can do this 3-point check. The first one, we need to ask some question that can we provide some evidence or can we provide some clear evidence with our claim. The second, if we are being specific, and the third one is that it should not be the opinion, but it should be something that can be logically backed up. The next thing is that we need to understand different type of claims. So understanding the type of claim helps us assess their strength and how they can be supported. So for that particular purpose, we need to understand that how many type of claims can be possible. So here I am going to mention five kind of claims here. The first one is the claim of fact, the claim of definition, another one is claim of cause, the claims of value, and the claims of policy. So let's see one by one what are these claims. So first we will discuss about the claims of fact. So if we are going to talk about claims of fact, we can say that these claims are asserts that something exists. So here the exist is an important word, or happens, can be proven true or false, right? So for example, we try to understand this claim of fact with the help of example. The global temperatures have increased by 1.1 degrees Celsius in the past century, right? So this can be easily backed up with the data, some kind of reports or some kind of other statistics available that may be easily available on the internet or somewhere else. So if the claim asserts that something exists or happens, if it is exist or it happens generally, then it can be proven whether it is true or false. Everyone can easily understand, yes, temperature is rising every year we see the gradual rise in the temperature on the earth, right? So if that happening or that kind of existence property is available inside the claim, it should be categorized as a claim of fact. The next category of the claim is the claim of definition. So these claims argue how something should be defined or how something can be classified. They often require explanation of terms and can be more subjective, right? So it is not necessary that your claim may not be subjective, but yes, it can be subjective, but it will be put into the category of claims of definition. Again, we are going to take one example to understand that what the claim of definition is. The climate change should be defined as the long-term change in the temperature and weather patterns caused by the human activity. So here you easily understand that if we need to be specificity, we need to check the specificity in our example. So we are very much specific. We are again being specific to the climate change, and inside the climate change domain we are being specific the change in temperature, right? So specificity is there, and if we need to back up our logic or back up our claim with some kind of fact or some kind of data or evidence, yes, it can be easily available, or it can be easily produced, the evidence that the climate change should be defined as a long-term change in temperature and weather patterns, because we already are defining the change in climate with the fact that every year the temperature of earth is increasing, and we are also defining some other terminology related to that. That is one example for that is the global warming. So these kind of claims can be put into the category of claims of definition. The third category of the claim type is the claim of cause. These claims argue that one event causes another. So they require a solid chain of reasoning and evidence to prove the cause and effect relationship. So if in our claim there is a cause and effect relationship, that one thing is happening because of another one. So if that kind of relationship is available inside our claim, inside our statement or argument, that may be put into the category of claim of cause. Again, we are taking one example, that pollution from factories is a major cause of respiratory diseases in the urban areas. So we are living in Delhi NCR, we can easily correlate with this example. We are dealing with so many respiratory problems nowadays. So if we want to put one claim, we want to present one claim for that particular thing, we can say that okay, respiratory diseases in urban areas are increasing. Why it is increasing? This is the cause, and this is the effect actually, and what is the cause? Cause is the pollution from factories. So this is the another kind of claims. The next category of claim is the claim of value. So these claims assert that something is good or bad, something may be right or wrong based on the subjective values or the ethical considerations, right? So if we put one example in front of you, that investing in renewable energy is more beneficial for society than continuing reliance on the fossil fuels. So again, you are saying that we are comparing the two things, and we are trying to prove that something may be good, something may be bad, something may be right, or something may be wrong. So we are trying to prove that if we are ready to invest in renewable energy, then it is more beneficial. So it may be right, or it may be good, beneficial for the society. Again, we are being specific. Specificity is also there. Then continuing reliance on the fossil fuels. The next category of the claims is the claims of policy. These claims suggest that something should or should not be done. Okay, they often involve recommendations or calls to action. For example, the government should implement stricter regulations on carbon emissions from industrial plants. So if we are basically putting our opinion, and that opinion must be backed up with some kind of facts. So earlier we have proved that yes, the carbon emission is basically more from the industries or the plants that basically are involved into some kind of manufacturing or these kind of processes. So if we are putting these things like should or should not be done, that means we are creating a claim which is of type of claims of policy. We are going to talk about the policies here. So these are few types of claim that I explained in front of you. The next thing is we need to discuss about strong versus weak claims. We have seen so many claims in this discussion. So quickly let's take one example for each strong claim and the weak claim. So example of a strong claim is to combat air pollution, cities should invest in electric public transport and expand bike lanes to reduce the car dependence. So why I am saying that this is a strong claim? Earlier we have seen so many properties which were related to the strong claims we have seen in previous slides, but here again I am testing my theory with help of these three properties, that the claim should be clear, it should be specific, and it should be supportable or defendable, like I used to tell in previous slides. So here I can see that my aim is very clear. Why I am saying that aim is very clear? Because we want to combat the urban air pollution in cities, and we are also providing some kind of solution, some kind of fact that okay, the more electric public transports are needed, we need some bike lanes so that we can reduce the car dependency. So we are being clear, we are specific here, and we are supporting our claim with help of some kind of solutions or some kind of statistics or data or facts. That's why I am saying that this is a kind of strong claim. So the next question is, what is the weak claim then? So if we want to understand the weak claim, we will find that it is vague, it is broad, or it is unsupported with the help of evidence or the facts. So let's quickly take an example for weak claim. The government should do something about the air pollution, right? What government should do, we don't know. which kind of air pollution we are talking about? If we are basically concerned with the air pollution in urban cities, air pollution due to the cars or the traffic or due to the plants, we don't know anything. So here we can say that, okay, this claim is very vague, this claim is very broad, and here no supporting evidence is being provided with this particular statement or the claim. So that is why it is a very weak claim, right? So the next thing is the tips for spotting the weak arguments. So if we are basically saying that how we can spot the weak arguments, here I am going to present you the 6 tips or 6 ways. With the help of them, you can easily spot whether that argument is weak or whether that argument is strong. Weak argument, the first property of the weak argument is the lack of evidence. We shouldn't use plastic bags because they are bad for the environment. This is one argument. But without showing data or the studies on the environmental harm caused by the plastic bag, there is no evidence basically available with this particular argument, right? Why should we stop using plastic bags? There is no reason for that particular thing here. That is why it is a weak argument. The next one is the overly broad claims. The technology is bad for society. How technology can be bad? Because we are having so much dependency on the technology, right? We are using technology in every aspect of our daily life. How we can say that technology is bad for society? It can be for some specific cases, but that specificity is not available in that particular argument. That is why we are saying that it is a weak argument, because that claim is too broad and doesn't specify how or why technology is bad. The next thing is the appeal to emotion. How can you let people suffer when there are so many homeless people in the world? We need to fix this now. You may be right. The argument may be right that yes, there are so many homeless people in the world, but we need to fix it now. How? How to fix that particular problem? There is an appeal to the people, to the mass, to the public, but appeal is to the emotions only. There is no suggestion, there is no evidence, there is nothing related to that. This appeals to emotions without clear steps or logics is vague, or it may be very broad, or it may be unsupported with the facts or the figures. That is why I am saying that this claim or this argument is a weak argument. So there are the 3 ways you can basically detect whether that argument is weak argument or that argument is a strong argument. The next 3 categories or next 3 points or tips to identify the argument, whether it is a weak argument or the strong argument, we can say that false or weak analogy, right? Allowing kids to play video game is like letting them smoke cigarettes. This analogy is totally vague, because cigarette smoking is something very different and playing video game is very different from the cigarette smoking. So this analogy is not going to work here, because cigarette smoking can directly harm your health, or playing video games may harm your health, but in a longer run, I think, and this is my opinion only, there is no fact, there is no evidence for that, but yes, it may harm you in some other cases or in some other way, right? So that is why if this kind of analogy is present inside your argument, that is a weak argument. The next thing is circular reasoning. I know he is right because he is always right. This is an argument. Argument's conclusion is used as a premise, essentially repeating itself without providing new evidence. So why I know he is right? I don't know, because he is always right, right? So this is a continuous loop. So we are calling it circular reasoning. And if this kind of circular reasoning is present, that we can say that yes, it is a weak argument. Last but not the least, ad hominem attacks. You can't trust John's opinion on climate change because he is not even a scientist. Here, we are not focusing on the facts or on the evidence. We are directly attacking on the human being, attacking on the person. So attacking the person, making the argument rather than addressing the argument itself. We are not addressing the argument. We are not providing any support, facts or evidence on this particular thing, that why we should not trust on John's opinion on climate change, right? So John's opinion may be one case, but opinion on the climate change, and why we are not trusting on that opinion, because he is not a scientist. So we are directly blaming on the person itself rather than supporting or rather than putting some kind of evidence for our claim that we are going to make here. So these are the few properties on the basis of which we can easily identify whether the argument is a strong argument or that argument is a weak argument. So this is it for this session, and very soon we will meet with some other interesting topic. Till then, keep learning.